Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. It's Kazamak coming to you with another video. I know it's been a while, and that is because life has been happening. When you choose to live for the Most High, regardless of the things that go on around you or that happen to you, well, that you're going to be tested and you're going to be tried. You're going to be proved, just like our forefathers was. The Bible says that the Most High proved Abraham. He tested him with his son. He proved Noah by having him build that ark for about 100 years before the rain came. He proved, which one am I thinking of? I know I can say the forefathers. Job, with what happened with his family. In the book of James, it says that, we have to have patience. And the book of James doesn't say we have to have patience, but the book of James says that the way we gain patience is through these trials, through the testing of our faith. We learn to wait on the Most High. We learn to trust the Most High. We learn that His timing is not always our timing, but that does not excuse disobedience or lack of faith. And so that's what I've been going through. Once my eyes were open to who I was, that I was Israel, that the Most High is our power, the Most High, what people say, the creator, the God that created heaven and earth, He's our power, He's our Elohim, He's our Elohim. I've been going hard ever since. And it's only been a few years. It hasn't even been that long. So I got a lot to learn still. But the thing that the Most High has instilled in me is the importance of keeping the laws to the best of my ability. And it wasn't just, before I even knew who I was, I already didn't eat pork. And I think I've shared this before, but I had no idea about the shellfish. So I put all that down. Definitely didn't know about Sunday worship to the extent I do now. I knew that Sunday was the first day and Saturday was the seventh day, but I just made excuses like a lot of people do. Besides, some people teaching that it was changed. I never taught that, but I believed it. When I was a pastor, I never taught that the Sabbath day was changed. I just believed that, even though Saturday was the seventh day, if you'd have asked me, I wouldn't even tell you why, quite honestly, because I can't even tell you now, or why we were able to worship on the first day. Going with the flow, doing what I've always done, or doing what I was taught, not asking important questions. It's like it. Even now, my body is being attacked. I live in Minnesota, and it's colder up here, but I bundle. I like to be warm. I keep my feet warm. I keep my head covered. Keep my head warm, my hands warm. I do work outside, so I gotta be bundled. And this come out of nowhere. I was feeling fine before yesterday, and then yesterday I could just feel it, the tinge. But that's because I believe it's an attack. Just same way enemy's attacking my family. Same way, I believe the Most High is proving me to find out, so I can see for myself what's really in me. Am I just going to talk the talk, or am I going to walk the walk? And so, when I speak, when I share these videos, I'm hoping to inspire and encourage others who might be going through some of these same things. Because I realized that, in Christianity, I was actually a really good teacher. But in Israel, I got so much unlearning to do that, I put out a few teaching videos early on when I started making videos. But that stopped real quick because I realized that I got a lot of stuff to unlearn, first of all. And then I have to learn what the scriptures really say. But what I am able to do, or what the Most High has given me to do, is to speak on living life and how I, not how I live my life, but that I live my life for Him. Because there's a lot of us, we watch people on YouTube like, my favorite is Kingdom Preppers, but I also, pay attention to Issachar Online. I listen to Seed of Israel from time to time. When he was making videos, one of my favorites was Tribe of Judah Teach. He hasn't made a video for many months now. Yerushalayim, Drawback Jacob was his, that was his YouTube name, but his name was Yerushalayim. So there was a few people that those were some teachers, people that, had studied the Word, and got, for the most part, obviously people are going to differ in some things, but for the most part agreed because they were studying the scriptures for what they really said. Some of the bigger ones, who Israel really is, not the so-called Israelis, but us that are scattered to the four corners of the earth. Observing the Sabbath day and the importance of that, and it's very important. Observing the dietary laws, that's very important. So, those are the things that I focus on. Those are the things that I'm trying to get down first. Having the lifestyle of reading and praying every day, several times a day, which, in Christianity, I would go through spurts, but then I would go through spurts where, it was more talk than action. So that is a habit that I had developed that needs to be broken, and it's been broken, quite honestly, because once my eyes were open to this, man, I ain't never prayed so much in my life, quite honestly. I was always a reader because it really, even from early on, the Most High had me just paying attention to words and being very curious about why a certain word was used. So you might say, well, then how is it that you didn't see the truth? And how is it that you didn't, well, he didn't choose to open my eyes until now. He didn't choose to open my eyes until later. Maybe that was His grace in my life to help me raise a family different from what I had seen on both sides of my parents. Because that's part of the attack that I'm going through is, the attack that, my wife is not, she is not wanting to live this life. And we got to deal with that. And so maybe the Most High was giving me grace that we didn't divorce when the kids were younger. So my girls were able to have both parents in the home, something that most of their friends did not have. That's something that He gave them, even in my ignorance. I was trying to do the best. I did the best that I could do in Christianity in my ignorance, though He still had grace and mercy on me. But then there came a point where He opened my eyes, and I have no choice but to follow Him, regardless of what it cost me. And it's costing me my marriage. But He made it clear that, Messiah made it clear. He said, if you love anything more than me, you're not worthy of me. Father, mother, sister, brother, He's naming those close, family. So just because He didn't name everybody, aunts, uncles, but wife is included. He said son and daughter. Husband is included. We have to love Him the most and follow Him no matter what. Do what He told us to do no matter what. Because that is the problem that our ancestors ran into. They started loving other things more than they loved Him. And I can imagine, because obviously I wasn't there, so I can't say for sure, but there's nothing new under the sun. So I can imagine that there were those that did not want to pay the price. That did not want to give up their spouse. Not saying that I do, But if that's what it costs me to follow him and gain the kingdom, well then so be it. And I'm sharing this just because Kingdom Preppers, he has been doing a podcast series called Fruit Bearers, where he's talking to, I'll quote, ordinary people. I mean, we're all ordinary, but these are people that don't necessarily like do YouTube videos or have this great ministry, or these are, so-called regular people living life, working jobs, family. And he talked to a guy, his name was Ron J. And Ron J shared how this has put him and his wife in, a predicament. He didn't say that they were divorcing or talking about it, but every time he brings up the subject of who we are, that we're the people of the book, it causes an argument. Well, that's because it's a spiritual battle. And I know that I'm in a spiritual battle. And so, some of you might be in a spiritual battle. So I'm sharing it. It's embarrassing. It can be embarrassing. Not, it can be, a lot of people don't like to share their private information like that. And quite honestly, I'm one of them. But when it's come to helping somebody have a better relationship with the Most High, or encouraging them to have a relationship with the Most High, I have been a person that I'll lay it out there. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you the truth. Things that I've struggled with, mistakes that I've made, things that I'm going through, because, I believe that we can help one another, and the Most High uses us to help each other, to encourage each other, to stand together, to be a support system. And so, as sad as that is, or as embarrassing it is, but if it helps somebody to say, you're not the only one whose marriage is being affected, whose family is being affected, and maybe you don't have, you didn't get the grace that I got, where your kids are still small, or your marriage is young. I mean, I've been married 23 years now. We're in our 23rd year. That's a long time, especially in today's day, and in standards, by today's standards. That's a long marriage. That's rough to have to lose that after all this time. But I believe that it's worth it. I believe that gaining the kingdom, spending eternity with our Father in heaven, is worth it. Now, most people who have no idea what it really means to live for the Most High, or they have no idea what's really going on, they just live their life, they live according to the flesh and not the spirit, they would say that's absolutely ridiculous. But we know that it's not. I know that it's not. I know that the Most High has made me who I am for a reason. And He's made me who I am with purpose. The way that I am is no accident. And there are a lot of people like me. Things like I can eat the same thing every day, day after day, for a long time. If it's for a purpose or a reason, not even out of necessity. It's the only thing I can afford. But if I'm saving money and I just need to bring the same sandwich to work every day for months, because that's what I've done for months. The same things for dinner, because it's just easier to buy in bulk, and then but you're having the same thing. It's essentially easier but cheaper to buy in bulk. Then you're having the same thing. A lot of people get sick of that. They want variety. They need to change it up. And I understand that that's who you are. But He just made me a person that I'm able to do those kind of things. And so one of the other things He's given me the ability to do is, stay the course. And anybody who's going to stay in this truth, anybody who's going to live out this truth, I believe they have that ability to stay the course. That no matter what comes, they are firm. They are driven. They are determined. That's the word I'm looking for. They are determined to make it. They are determined to live for the Most High no matter what the cost. Because you have to remember, our ancestors, a lot of them paid the ultimate price in giving their life. Now, Messiah gave his life for the sins of the nation, but other people died for things. Other people, if you read in the Apocrypha, a mom and her 7 sons died simply for not eating pork, because the captivity that we were in at that time, they knew that eating pork was against our laws. So they were trying to get us to break our laws, and they wouldn't do it. They stood firm, even as they seen one after the other killed, and then they were given the opportunity to either fold or die the same manner. They didn't do it. You should read it. It is I can't remember what book it's in right now, but if I want to say it's in either First or Second Maccabees. Pretty sure it's in First Maccabees, but I didn't have it ready. I'm not going to take the time to do that now, but be encouraged that you're not the only one suffering. You're not the only one paying a price to walk this walk. And remember that it's not all bad. That even though maybe the ones closest to you or the things closest to you are what we would say are negative right now, it's costing you your marriage or your family or different relationships with extended family or whatever, there are other good things that are happening. Your personal growth, your spiritual growth, wisdom and knowledge increases. Maybe you're seeing some increase on your job. I am. Not that, that's the end all be all, but the point that I'm making is not all negative. There are positives that are happening, and it behooves us, or it is necessary for us, to not just focus on the negatives, but to keep our eyes on the positive. The Bible says that we're to think on things that are good and pure and righteous and holy. So obviously we're thinking on the Word and the Most High, but also we want to think on the things that He's doing for us in this life, and the good that He does for us in this life, bringing us back and forth to work safely. Some people don't even make it to work one day. They get in a car accident and they're dead. They don't even wake up. Mysterious heart attacks and heart disease. And, there are a lot of things that the Most High is doing for us that we cannot fail to recognize. But that, our enemy and our flesh, which our flesh is our enemy, is going to try to get us to focus off of those things and on the negative, and magnify the negative, magnify the hardship. I'm not saying deny that it's there. I'm not denying that it's there. We got to go through it. We got to deal with it. But what I choose to do is focus on the positive to the most I can, to the best of my ability, to help me through those tough times, to help me through, especially when I'm feeling down, when I'm leaving work late at night and I'm all alone, and the enemy really tries to come and attack me in my mind and get me to think, oh man, how are you going through this? Why don't you just, sacrifice and, for the family, and, start to, make some compromises. I cannot compromise. I mean, more accurately, I will not compromise. I could compromise. I will not compromise. I believe it's that serious. I really do. I believe the Most High is that serious. I believe He had a problem with our ancestors compromising the Sabbath day way back when. Book of Nehemiah, I believe it is. When Nehemiah came in and they were buying and selling on the Sabbath day, and he was like, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Y'all are tripping. It's no different today. The Most High does not change. He's as serious about the Sabbath day today as He was back then, as when He established it. He hasn't changed. So we can't compromise. Not when it comes to the things of the Most High, not when it comes to the commandments that He's given us. That's not the place to compromise. There are other places that we can compromise, but there are some places where you have to stand firm, feet planted on the rock, who is our Messiah. And come what may, let them storms come, because they're coming. Come what may, I'm standing on this rock, because that's where I'm the safest. That's who's going to hold me down. So, be encouraged. Stay steadfast. Stay determined. Know that you're not the only one going through situations of hardship because of this walk. In Esdras, it talks about the path that we're on being very narrow. Only one person can go at a time. On one side is fire, and on the other side is a great ocean. And we can't look to the right or to the left. We have to keep our eyes straight ahead for the prize, which is that city, that holy city of New Jerusalem, where we will be in the new kingdom with the Most High and Messiah and all the others that make it. I want to make it. I'm determined to make it. I want you to make it. So be determined to make it. Blessings to you, Israel. Shalom.